Welcome to the Beyond 20 Cherwell tutorial series. In this video, we will demonstrate how to add controls to a dashboard that enable end users to change the widgets displayed on the dashboard without actually editing the dashboard. For our example, we will use an out-of-the-box demo system, and we're going to look at the Change Owner dashboard. This dashboard has several chart widgets, including a bar chart in the bottom right corner that displays My Change Request by status. If the user wanted to see their change request charted by due date or request type, they would have to edit the dashboard or create a new dashboard. In this video, we will demonstrate how to use button controls to run one-steps which change the value of a user-specific stored value, which is used to control the visibility of 3 chart widgets on the dashboard. We can perform this process either in the Cherwell Administrator or Cherwell Rich client. Before we begin, we want to make a copy of the dashboard to preserve the original, so that we don't make any changes that another user might not like. We will simply right-click on the dashboard we wish to edit, select Copy, then Paste, and right-click on the copy of the dashboard and edit. Next, we will open the Widget Manager and navigate to the Change Owner folder to make a copy of the My Change Request Status widget. We'll call this widget My Change Request Date Due. Then right-click and edit the Date Due widget. The first thing you need to do is change the name and default title to My Change Request Date Due. Next, we need to edit the chart series. In the chart series, we need to change the criteria from My Change Request Status, which is sorted by Change ID, to a new search called My Change Request Due Date that is sorted by the scheduled end date. It will have the same criteria as the status search. The only difference is the sort by field. Now we need to go out of the chart series, and on the x-axis we need to change the value type to date time and x-value units to days. Then we can edit the series again and set the x-axis field to scheduled end date. And we already created the third widget for by risk, so that we have 3 chart widgets that we will stack on top of each other in the lower right corner of the dashboard. The next step will be to make room for the button controls that will be linked to the one-steps that set our My Widget View stored value. For our purposes, we will use 3 buttons, one for each widget. We want to make them all the same size and use a font that is both small yet still readable. So Sago UI 8.25 will work fine. We will align the left button for by status to the left edge of the chart widgets, the middle button for by date to the center of the chart, and the right button for by risk to the right edge of the chart. Once the buttons are created, we need to add one-steps to each button that will change the value of a stored value we created called My Change Widget View, which is a user-specific stored value with a default value of status. The one-steps are not associated with a business object since they are only updating stored values. Each of the one-steps has 2 actions: update the stored value for My Change Widget View and execute the command refresh. The By Status button will run a one-step that sets the stored value back to its default and then refreshes the dashboard. The By Date and By Risk buttons will set the stored value to date and risk respectively. We will then set the visibility on each of our widgets. The By Status widget only shows when the My Widget View is equal to status, and the By Date widget only is visible when the My Widget View is set to date. The My Risk widget is only visible when My Widget View stored value is set to risk. Now we have 3 buttons that will change the value of the My Change Widget View stored value. We need to set the visibility expression on each widget to correspond with the stored value. For the My Change Request by Status chart, We set it to be visible when My Change Widget view is equal to status. Next, we will drag and drop the My Change Request Date Due chart onto the dashboard. Then, with the widget selected, set the visibility expression to My Change Widget view equals date. Then we will resize and align the Request Date Due widget so it is the same size and centered on the My Change Request by Status widget. To do this, select the Date widget. Then hold the Shift key down and select the Status widget. Then click the Make Same Size button on the menu. Then click the Align Left and Align Top buttons to center the widgets. Repeat this process for the By Risk chart. Click OK on the Dashboard Editor, and if you are in the Rich client, you can view your changes at once. If you are in the Administrator client, you will need to publish your blueprint before the changes can appear in your Rich client. You will notice that as you click each button, the underlying chart will change to the correct chart for the button you selected. If you also add visibility expressions to the buttons, then only the buttons for the charts that are not visible will be displayed on the dashboard.